Hello everyone, welcome to the third video of my series on life of an average math student at Oxford. And so this is being the third video, we'll be going over uh, my experience of week two. And before we start on week two, however, I would like to apologize sincerely for somehow missing the most important event that happened in week one. In fact, it is probably the most important event of like the first term at least at Oxford, and that is matriculation, which for those of you who doesn't know is basically um, a cult-like practice where you know a bunch of like Oxford students, freshers are hustled into this like theater of sort. It's called the Sheldonian Theater, and then we were like the subfus, which is like this um, robe outside of like our suit, very not a robe, a gown, sorry, um, and then we carry a motorboard around, the hat for like the whole day, but or the whole morning, like throughout matriculation. But we never put it on once because apparently you can only put it on once you graduate. But we carry it on for the whole time. I don't know why. But anyway, we go into this theater, we sit down, and then the whoever is in charge running the show starts speaking in Latin, a language that unless you study classics here, you probably don't understand. And then you are inducted into the University of Oxford, which, I mean, if you really think about it, is quite uh, similar to what would happen if you joined a cult. Um, so yeah, that's nice. And also, it was quite interesting to see how like freshers flu hit like basically everyone because in in matriculation, whenever like it was just constant coughing. Like you can hear coughing constantly. And to be fair, I did contribute to that as well. Uh, but I'm fine now, which is good. I'm finally rid of freshers flu. So now that we've caught up on week one, we can move on to week two. Week two is quite exciting for me. I had my first tutorials. I had one tutorial in Introduction to University Mathematics and one tutorial in Introductory Calculus. And essentially, what I've found math tutorials to be is basically we present solutions to problem sheets, which is probably going to be very useful in the future. But for because week one, because we present our solutions to the problem sheets of week one, right? And the sheets of week one were relatively like manageable. So there isn't like a whole lot of questions, and so it was like I didn't feel like I learned too much during the tutorials. I still learned some stuff. Right? I learned, for example, like if you solve a differential equation, the solution uh, has to be on a continuous curve, which does make sense, right? Otherwise, you can't. Um, if there's a point of discontinuity, then it's not differentiable at that point, right? So yeah, that's the tutorials. That's my thoughts on tutorials. It will probably start being more helpful as the sheets get harder and we actually have like problems that we cannot solve. And the sheets are certainly getting much harder. For example, my experience with the second sheet of geometry this week. Like I woke up Tuesday to do the in the morning at like 7:30. I slept well. I slept early the night before. I was like, all right, 7:30. Woke up just naturally. I was like, okay, get out of bed. I'm gonna start working. I'm gonna finish so much in the morning. And literally until like 4 p.m. I I I was still doing the geometry sheet. That like I couldn't do the one thing that I wanted to do first, right? Which was a bit sad. And the geometry sheet was quite difficult indeed. Um, uh, Other than that, there was one very interesting problem that came up on the uh, second probability sheet, I think, and it is using probability theory to prove the Euler's formula for the Riemann zeta function, which is pretty cool. I'm personally very fascinated by the Riemann hypothesis, and so anything about the Riemann zeta function I think is quite cool to learn. And yeah, but in general, the sheets are just getting more challenging. So to the point where like instead of like last week, I was able to do like 9 problem sheets in total. I was only to do like 5 this week, and it was like I had to like spend quite a lot of time. Like my most of my day I spent doing either watching the lectures or doing the problem sheets. And as a result of this increase in difficulty, I dropped basketball as a sport. I play volleyball in the Oxford Blue, the M1 team, and I still do so. And I used to play basketball in the second team, but uh, I genuinely can't find time. Well, I mean, I can, but like if I cannot find time to make every training, and but I like the coaches are really nice, and they offered to like you can offer me to like join like 1 practice a week, and yeah, but I wouldn't really feel good about myself if I wasn't fully committed to the sport, if I wasn't like showing up to every training. I feel like I would be slowing down the team. So I told the coaches that I was quitting, and the coaches were very like understanding and very nice about it. They said they don't want to see me leave because they think I have a lot of potential, but they understand, which I think is really like amazing, right? Because you have I don't know from I don't know movies, books, or at least maybe personal experience. I guess like you have these stereotypes of like uh, sports team coaches, especially at like a university level where it's quite competitive, right? The coaches are usually like really mean and like make you run suicides or just make you run in general for no reason, and then um, just at least that was like my impression of the coaches, or my stereotype of what coaches would be. But the coaches here are just genuinely really nice. So yeah, but I had to drop basketball because I don't have the time or energy to do it, to play 2 sports at the same time. But I am still playing volleyball, which also isn't going very well. We played another game this week, a home game against Essex, who, to be fair, are like the defending champions of the league, which is the highest league in all of UK or England. Or I don't know how it works. Again, just saying, we are at the top league, uh, but yeah, we got wrecked. But it was in the sense that it just felt really frustrating. Like losing is fine, right? If you get absolutely outclassed by someone who's way better than you, then there's nothing you can really do. But it was so annoying to lose a game where it feels like they're not particularly better at volleyball than us. It's just they were playing volleyball, whereas we were, I don't know what we were doing, right? And I say this, and I contributed a lot to this problem, right? I missed like 2 serves in the game, and usually I don't miss serves like at all. So that is just it was really annoying, but yeah. Well, hopefully we'll start winning some games starting next week. Apparently next week I have a game against Exeter, away game, but it's supposed to be quite winnable. But we also thought so about quite a few games so far, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, and then after the games, and also on Monday, there was like a volleyball. There was 2 volleyball socials, right? One on Monday, one on Wednesday after the games, and I went to them, and it was quite fun to meet like players and just hang out and drink beer. So that was great. Uh, oh yeah, speaking of volleyball, I did find out something quite well, I did realize something quite sad, and that is that I won't be attending any more formals of my college, at least, because my college, Corpus, only has like formals on Fridays, which means which collides with my training schedule. Every Friday during like dinner time, I have a training session, which really does kind of suck, but hey, training is more important. But I guess so. Maybe if like I really wanted to go to a formal for whatever reason, invite some friend. If I have like a friend I really want to invite for to the formal, I could skip training, but only on the condition that we win the game on Wednesday before. Then I feel like it is. I can see myself skipping training. Otherwise, it's just I cannot skip training after a loss, right? And yeah, But yeah, that is all for this week. Oh right, yeah, and I should probably say that I'm filming this video on the Saturday instead of Sunday, like I normally would, because Sunday tomorrow I have training. Then I am going to a formal for a friend invited me to a formal in Teddy Hall, uh, as a college, St. Edmund College. Um, so yeah, I look forward to that. But yeah, so I'm recording this video now, and I will just conclude with some general thoughts. And there's only really one general um, thought about this week, and that is the intensity is certainly starting to pick up. Like I'm still managing to stay on top of things mostly, but it is probably going to be progressively harder, and we'll see. We'll see if I hope. I think and I hope I can pull through and manage even at like the peak intensity, which I think will happen maybe like next term or maybe the term after that, maybe for exams or something. But it is starting to become more difficult now. And yeah, that'll be all. See you guys next week.